Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here today. We're taking another look at Matic, and this is an awesome coin. I have a fantastic Patreon community asking me to cover this regularly, so you should expect to see an update at least every 24 to 48 hours moving forward, just so we can stay in the know for my solid group of supporters. So thank you all very much. Moving forward, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. Always do your own research. And this is just a technical analysis. There's no fundamentals here. We really just look at the big picture so we can see what's going on. Okay, so that's essentially what we're looking at here. And without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. Oh, I apologize. Feel free to reference my Patreon link down below in the description if you'd like to show your support. I also have a Telegram community and a Discord channel if you're interested. Those are all available in the description below. Again, without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. Let's get to it. All right, folks, let's take another look at Matic. We're just going to do a quick analysis here. And first thing we do, of course, is look at Bitcoin and Ethereum just to get a baseline of what's going on in the market so we understand kind of how the top two coins are performing. So first things first is Bitcoin. So let's take a look at that. And just to clarify too, this is Binance desktop application, and I'm using TradingView within. So if you see in the corner, you see TradingView here, that's how you access that if you'd like to follow along and add the same indicators. At this point, we're looking at the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. Now, first things first is we got a 50-day moving average working as a support level now, which is fantastic. Plus, the previous resistance of 38,800 is likely working as a support now. As you can see, it was tested and rejected. So this is a great sign for Bitcoin. We're finally out of the doghouse and making tentatively higher highs. So this is great news. If we can break above, just say 42,000 right in this range here where the previous support and resistance level is, then I think it's upwards to 50 from there on out. Okay, that's just my thoughts, of course. Again, 50,000 would be the next major resistance based on the 200-day moving average hovering right around that point right now. It'll probably be lower by the time we get there, but that's generally the idea, right? So that's Bitcoin, kind of where we're at. So good news. We're making tentatively higher highs above the 50-day moving average and the previous resistance of 38,800 now working as a support. All right, let's look at Ethereum next. So this is the 4-hour chart for Ethereum. Now, what's good about Ethereum here is that we're also above the 50-day moving average, but we're still trending below the 200. So it might be hard to say specifically what will happen soon. I feel as if Bitcoin, continuing to do well, if Bitcoin can get up over 42,000, then I think it's sky's the limit for Ethereum, because the amount of volume moving through Ethereum right now is pretty high. Like it's significant. But that being said, we've got kind of the most recent death cross is what they refer to it as, when the 50-day moving average intersects with the 200 on a downward fashion. So that's neither here nor there because we've broken the 50-day moving average, so we're looking to be in good shape. So I think it's looking as, I would say, tentatively sky's the limit for Ethereum, if that makes sense. As soon as it jumps up over the 200-day moving average, we'll be in really good shape. Okay, but for right now, just kind of wait for what Bitcoin will do. If we hit 42,000 or higher in Bitcoin, I think we are in pretty good shape with Ethereum to take off. All right, taking a look at Matic, we're just going to take a look at the 1-day chart, 4-hour chart, 15-minute, and then 1-minute chart, and just kind of get perspective. And taking a look at this here, as you can see, Matic was not held down for very long. This is the China candle bar here, of course, followed by some consolidation by Bitcoin, so it makes sense as to why the price came down so low. But generally speaking, at this point in time, we're looking very good. I mean, we've got 3 strong bullish days. There's going to likely be a retracement here because of the fact that it went up so high so quick. That's pretty standard. Once we take a look at the smaller time frames, we'll be able to identify if if it was a good bull run or if it's just too sharp, and we might see a larger retracement. But based on its history here, I would say the average range for Matic should be in the range of just say about $1.80 upwards of $2.40. I believe I mentioned that in my previous video, my most recent review, and it's hovering right around that. So I think we're in good shape. Down below too, you got the 50-day moving average working as a support. It is working its way up, so we'll see how that affects the price action in the next couple of weeks. RSI is under 70. Which is fantastic for this type of bull run on the 1-day chart. I think we're looking pretty good. It basically just implies that we have more left in the tank, and it could likely continue to increase. Okay? Just be cautious, of course, because it does appear to be overextended, in my opinion, just based on its progression over the last 3 days. Usually when you see this kind of growth in 3 days, it has a tendency of retracing. It may not retrace super hard, but it will likely correct itself. Now this is the 4-hour chart here, and I like what I see here, and here's why. Take a look at this. Ramps all the way up here. Like in a full 24-hour period, we got, that's probably almost, yeah, roughly 164% increase in really close to about a 24-hour period, maybe 28 hours. And then you see what it did here, consolidated, right? Now even though Bitcoin was kind of at a state of indecision right here, that makes sense, it consolidated above the 50-day moving average, and on top of that, it decided to ramp up again after. So now that's a fantastic sign, because any type of bull run should have a sharp increase followed by a period of consolidation, increase, consolidate. If it can continue to rinse and repeat that, we'll see, Matic hit $5 if Bitcoin trends upwards of $50,000, right? So we're looking pretty good here. And again, Matic isn't solely reliant on Bitcoin, but everything is reliant on Bitcoin, if that makes sense, right? So if Bitcoin can just keep going sideways or, slightly increase as it has been recently, then we're going to probably see a lot more progression from Matic, and it will probably test its previous high of roughly $2.70. So I think we're going to see some pretty good things from Matic. And here's the beautiful thing about all this here. The price was driven down so low that the RSI still hasn't peaked over 70, even with all this movement. So that means that it can jump up over 70, come back down, calm down for a couple days, and keep going up and up, right? So there's tons of potential here. Really like the volume as well. And we can see there's significant bullish sentiment with the MACD. So honestly, all good things here for Matic. I don't see any problems whatsoever, especially the fact that it's consolidating now. I hope it continues to consolidate for maybe just say 12 to 24 more hours, and we see a spike after that again. I think that's likely. So feeling bullish on Matic. And look at the 15-minute chart here. You can see we're making higher highs and higher lows. State of consolidation, followed by higher highs, higher lows, and then period of consolidation again. So this is really, really good news. So let's go ahead and disable these moving averages. And I like to use the 50 and the 200-day moving average, the simple moving average essentially, on the larger time frames. When I switch over to the smaller time frames, I only ever really rely on the volume weighted average price and the EMA, and that is the EMA 15. Now the industry standard is probably like EMA 20 and EMA 9. I split the difference and just use one personally because it just works better for me. That is this red line here, that is the EMA 15. It's an exponential moving average. Okay. The other indicator is the VWAP, that's the volume weighted average price here. That is essentially telling us that the volume over the last 24 hours is expressed as a price, which is currently $2.10. All right? So price being above that tells us it is bullish, as well as a simple fact that price being above the EMA line indicates that it is also on a bullish trend, right? So pretty much all we see is bullish territory here. However, state of consolidation, it kind of wavers, right? It varies. So it can be difficult to find a breakout in this consolidation phase. So sometimes what you need to do is look at the indicators and wait for a firm confirmation. And when I say firm confirmation, I'm referring to, on the 15-minute chart, 2 solid green bars. In other words, 2 green candlesticks closing above the VWAP and the EMA line. If you can get those 2 things in order, you're usually looking to be in pretty good shape. Okay. And what I mean by that here is, let's take a look at an example. So a good entry point for me is to wait for 2 solid green bars, so 30 minutes of confirmation. So if you look at this here, let's get just a little closer. Look at this. So we got the EMA and the VWAP. So you want the price to be above both of these at all times in order to take good confirmation, or to get good confirmation and take a good entry. Okay. So look at this here. If you look, this is below, this is below. This does break above here, but it's really sharp, and we want to be careful with that because it can come right back down. But what we want is to see nice 2 smooth green candle bars, right? So we got this one here and this one here. So I'd probably consider taking entry right in this range, right in these 1, 2, or 3 candle bars. Okay. And what I mean by that is just simply put, you take entry here, you probably take maybe just say a 25 to 30% position. If you have just say you have $1,000 you're working with, $250 to $300 is what you put in. Okay. Price comes up, right? Continues up. As soon as it bounces off the EMA and continues upwards, you take in another entry right here. You add to your position, maybe a 40% position. All right. So again, this is usually what I do. You can do what you'd like, but going all in initially can be hazardous for your health because it could very well reverse on you, right? So I just like to exercise caution there. Be careful. Add to your position as you get more confirmation. And confirmation is just the price coming up, bouncing off the EMA line. Okay. So this is another confirmation here. Even though it didn't physically touch it, it bounced off of it and continued upwards, right? So, pay attention to those little things. Those things really help me a lot. And then the last thing too is like, okay, how do I get out? When do I want to get out? Well, that's when you use the RSI. So if we take a look down here, right? RSI is up over 70, comes back down, calms down. That's great. We like that. And then we took entry right around here, okay? Right as the RSI peaks up over 70. Don't be worried or concerned on a bull run when RSI is peaking over 70. That's actually a good thing. Because again, a lot of us think that, oh, over 70, I got to sell and get out. Not exactly the case. It depends on the overall sentiment, but in a bullish sentiment right here, when we have all the indicators telling us that the price is moving up in a strong upward fashion, then what we want to do is we want to wait for the RSI to start calming back down and coming down. So a couple of exit points here would be right in this point here where it comes back down and touches 70. That would be right in this range, right there. Or if you want to see what happens, wait for it to come back and test the EMA line, which it did right here. Comes back up, keeps testing. You wait for the RSI to come back down somewhere in this range. Okay, so your exit would be there. So here's a couple of scenarios. So you added 30%, so you got basically a 70. You got 30% growth here of 9%. Then you got 40% growth of either 10% upwards of 20%. So that's a pretty significant gain. That's a pretty good, strong day. And I would take in those positions, got out of my position, and had a fantastic rest of the night. I probably would celebrate with something small to drink, but that's kind of the concept, right? So just pay attention, look for these things here. That's how you can use the EMA and the VWAP line in conjunction with the RSI. Never use just the RSI alone, and always try to use these two in combination. Okay. So moving forward, my price prediction for this currency is to see it continue upwards. So again, if Bitcoin can consolidate furthermore between 39 and 42,000, break above 42,000 and hold, we're looking to be in very good shape because I feel Bitcoin will hit 50,000 in the near future once we break and stay above. Because again, it's going to go back, it's going to try to test the 200-day moving average eventually, right? Because these previous support and resistance lines aren't as impactful as the moving averages in this scenario. So now that we're over the 50-day moving average, I think we're going to be looking at a pretty good projection upwards because it is currently making higher highs and higher lows. So we'll see what happens in the next 8 to 12 hours. If we can make another higher low and continue upwards, it will continue to test previous resistance of 42,300. And that will drive Matic up even further. Okay, so that's all I've got for you here today. Hopefully you found this beneficial. If so, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to my Patreon community for reaching out and asking for me to cover this. I'm mostly covering Matic more consistently because of my, my supporters. So thank you all so much for everything you do. You make this a much better process just to be able to work with you every day. So thanks again. If you are interested, everything's in the description below. You can join my Telegram, Patreon, or Discord channels if you'd like to show your support and learn more and engage and grow together. So let's all continue to have some fun with this because I feel like we have one last bull run in us and we can do this here. So 2 or 3 more months. Let's maximize our benefit, maximize our potential. All right, hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.